Hello, everyone. I'm Joyce McConnell. I'm the Chief Academic Officer and the Vice President for everything that Gordon wants me to do, right? Which I think is the right way to define my role. And when I first became the provost, my daughter said, Provost, what's a provost, right? No one ever knows what a provost does. She said, Dean of the College of Law sounded a lot more important. That is what a provost is. A provost is somebody who does everything that Gordon wants her to do, and I try to do my best. This is a panel of our wonderful gifted students, and I thought the way to talk about what this panel is to say that these are the reason that we all come to work every day, and these students are the reason that you do all of the wonderful, generous things that you do. Sitting to my right, and we're going to let each person introduce him or herself. Sitting to my right is Dr. Ken Blemings, who's my wonderful dean colleagues, and he is the Dean of the Honors College.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ken Blemings. I'm the Dean of the Honors College, and my background is nutritional biochemistry, and I've had the great pleasure and privilege to serve as a dean for almost 2 years now, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. It's a great opportunity to interact with very high-achieving students and to see them excel in the things they do, provide opportunities for them to do all sorts of experiential learning, things like research and travel abroad and those sorts of things, and to really impact the university, to raise the academic profile of the university is something that I'm passionate about and something I enjoy. And so I'm thankful to be here today, and I'm thankful that we were able to bring these three very high-achieving students with us. Dillon.
Great. It's great to see so many familiar faces. My name is Dillon Muhly-Alexander. I am a junior studying international studies with a focus in development and political science. Like I said, originally from Doddridge County. I live in Bridgeport now, and I'm so excited to be here and looking forward to this.
Hi everyone, my name is Joy Wang. Less of a mouthful than Dillon Muhly-Alexander. We're buddies. I'm from Charleston, West Virginia, and I'm a senior majoring in biochemistry and chemistry, and to further triple dip, minoring in biology and Spanish language. And of course, I'm very happy to be here too. Thank you guys.
My name is Janelle Vickers. I'm a Moundsville, West Virginia native originally, so I'm a West Virginia girl. My majors are in English, with English literary and cultural studies, and communication studies in the interpersonal track. And I also study women's and gender studies and Arabic language and culture. And I'm super excited to be here, so.
When you hear all the ands, and I do this, and I do that, what I tell the students is they make Ken and I feel like slackers, right? We would never have been able to do what they've done.
Absolutely not. I was not in an honors college.
Right. What we are going to do, the format we're going to use is to ask the students questions, and then when we've given them an opportunity to answer those questions, we're going to give you an opportunity to ask them questions as well, because there may be things that you want to know. But one of the things Ken and I really wanted to know, because these are students who could have gone anywhere, they were all courted and admitted to other prestigious universities, and we were curious as to what it was that made them decide to come to WVU and to be a part of our team. Dillon, you want to start?
All right, so I'll start. So the short answer is the foundation scholarship made that decision a lot easier. So it went from being a really difficult decision to a not so difficult decision. So that's the first part. But the second part to that. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the process of going and applying for the foundation scholarship, you apply and they pick 20 Buckaloo scholars, and then you come to campus for a day of interviews, and from those 20 students they select 5 to be foundation scholars. And on the day of the interview you come and meet with the deans of the colleges that you're applying to, and I very vividly remember meeting with Dean Robeson, who I believe is here somewhere, back there and having dinner with him. And that was one of the things that struck me about WVU more so than the other places that I applied to was the infrastructure of support. So meeting with the dean of the Davis College and meeting with the dean of Eberly, as well as with professors that I was going to have class with, just to have a real human conversation with those people. And that was I remember sitting and eating and just thinking, this is crazy that I have this opportunity to meet with these people and really hear what they're interested in and for them to ask me questions about the things that I'm interested in studying. So that's the quick answer.
How about you, Wendy?
All right, well, I don't know if everyone's familiar with something called the lightning effect. I had a college advisor when I was in high school that helped me prepare and see which colleges I wanted to go to, take personality tests, all that jazz. And he told me about something called the lightning effect. And it's that eureka moment when you step onto a college campus, you look around you, something about the atmosphere, something about the people, it just hits you like a bolt of lightning. My parents are super involved, super supportive, so we did cross-country tours almost of different universities. And nowhere else did I feel that sense of camaraderie and that lightning effect is when my mom parked the car and we stepped out in front of Woodburn Circle and looked across the lair and wondering what is the marble structure that's in front of the lair. But it hit me like that. And I mean, I toured other universities before. They gave me scholarships that covered tuition, like Washington, Lee, Wake Forest, everything like that. But no other university welcomed me at WVU did. And to be specific, how many deans of the Honors College will welcome you into their office for a personal one-on-one meeting, talk to you about life, and show you their teddy bear collection.
Was not
yeah, I mean it's clear. I mean that was Dean Dr. Keith Garbett, but I'm sure Dr. Blemings loves teddy bears too.
No,
I'm sure.
I do not.
And also, I'm not going to hide it. I'm a big band geek, huge band geek, and the WVU marching band was something that I'd been exposed to even when I was in middle school in Charleston. And I'm a trumpet player, and if you guys ever saw anybody fall in Mountaineer Field, I promise it wasn't me. That's actually true, it wasn't me. But it's just that second family adopted you. And you're on campus 1 week before everyone else, you're kind of lost, you're a freshman, and to have that level of support, and to actually, when classes start, see that level of support pervade every aspect of this university, from the fellow students to the faculty to the staff. That's something that I don't think I could have experienced anywhere else except at WVU. So, yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, these two very eloquently covered a lot of points. But just to give you more about my personal background, like I said, I'm a West Virginia native, so I grew up in a single-parent family. My mother was already economically strapped because my sister had gone to an out-of-state college, and she was helping her with tuition. So the first point for me was that I needed financial support from a university, and that was point one. Point two was I wanted to stay moderately close to home, so maybe somewhere in the tri-state area for me, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. And point three was that I wanted a university that I felt I could grow in. And West Virginia University was the only place that I visited or that courted me that had an intersection of all three. And sometimes I think about where else I could have gone, and I can't imagine myself being anywhere else. And I have absolutely no regrets for the choices that I made. And just as a quick side note, Dillon and I are in the same Bucklew class, and I was one of the 15 that did not get a foundation scholarship. But no hard feelings, obviously. But I am happy to say that with the addition of some state funding and other funding through West Virginia University, I do have my tuition fully covered thanks to the Bucklew Scholarship. So I owe my entire college career to the generosity of you guys. So I wanted to thank you, all of you. Those of you I haven't talked to yet, thank you.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Janelle. So, you guys are juniors and seniors now, and you've been at the university for a while, lots of times while you're there. If you reflect back to the time that you were just starting and think about where you are now, have you done some things that sort of surprised you or you didn't expect that you might do?
Absolutely. I guess I get to go first again. So hopefully I don't steal anybody's answer. So three instances stand out right off the bat. So the first one is I participated in the European Model United Nations at The Hague. So this program is offered through the Political Science Department at WVU. They fund, it's about a week and a half program, Model United Nations competition in The Hague, Netherlands. Truly global conference where WVU is the only university that sends representatives from the United States, and well over 500 participants take part in this each year. So that's the first one. The second one that stands out, I did another program. It was an internship through the Political Science Department called the Herndon Fellowship, and so last spring I spent the spring semester in Charleston working with the West Virginia legislature in the office of the State Senate President, and then at the conclusion of the legislative session I moved down to the Secretary of State's office. And then the third and final experience that is going to be one of the highlights of my college career is this summer I'm spending 6 weeks going on a trip to East Timor. And so East Timor is a very small island nation over by Indonesia. It's the second newest country, and WVU is actually, again, the first university in the country to have a formal study abroad program in the entire country. So those are if I had to pick three highlights of college, those would be it.
Super, thanks. Joy?
Well, I guess the one-word answer is diversity. And then the long-word explanation, the many-word explanation is that obviously from my majors and my minors, I'm very interested in science and the STEM fields. So what I didn't expect to come to WVU is actually branch out so far away from the STEM fields. Freshman year, because I have a problem with saying no, I got involved with a student government association. And I guess because of that honestly was an open door. And I was able to get reelected for 2 terms as a governor on the Board of Governors. And with that, just through, I guess it's the open-mindedness of the university that I was able to partner with career services, create a mentorship program, partner with transportation and parking, create a PRT brigades, and a way to forgive parking citations that students are highly familiar with. Branching out from that, of course, marching band, all the adventures that the band offered, including the Cactus Bowl, awesome time. Let me see what else. Leading a medical brigade, a student organization-led medical brigade to Panama. We're getting ready to go on another one to Nicaragua, and seeing socioeconomic political forces at work there that branch outside the health aspect as well. And studying abroad in Spain, which also inadvertently led me to backpack through Europe. That was a fun time too. And I guess to go back into the STEM fields is how many universities give undergraduates the opportunity to do open heart procedures on live sheep? Got to work with 3 sheep.
Wow.
And actually one of the sheep, I actually got to massage the heart with my hand to try to resuscitate it. It didn't work, but but then again, I'm not in medical school, so. It's just. Okay, I'm sorry. That doesn't inspire a lot of faith, but it's those kind of experiences. It's honestly just that when they say like so many doors open for you. And that truly happened at WVU, because if you just have an open mind and just keep a weather eye on the horizon, then you can do almost anything, as long as you just have that passion. So.
Super.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joy.
So my story is kind of the mirror image of Joy's, but in reverse, because as you may have noticed, all of my interests were in the humanities. So everything that I study is under the umbrella of the Eberly College. And coming out of high school, my only knowledge was that I was not going to do anything that required calculus. And I was not going to do anything that required chemistry. So I pretty much planned for my entire college career to be very artsy, not involve anything that would have entailed hard math. But now I find myself conducting linguistic research with the West Virginia Dialect Project, and I'm tapped to be the next statistician in the lab. Yeah, so basically, one of the things that we do is we make English and language into statistical analyses that we can look at in a very quantitative way, which is something that is completely out of the realm of what I imagined when I came into college as an English major. And then I picked up communication studies my sophomore year, and I like to call it a soft or squishy science because we are also conducting research. I'm currently in an advanced research methods class, and we are preparing our own surveys and conducting them and doing data research about issues of mortality, salience, and communication. It's very interesting. If you'd like to hear more about it, you can ask me. But yeah, so the amount of research I'm doing research with English literature. I'm doing research currently in my women and gender studies minor about the erasure of women throughout history. The amount of math, number one, but the amount of research that I'm doing that I never thought I would have been enraptured this way. But I think it's the faculty and the courses that really, I tried them out and then they caught me. And that's why I'm a 2 major, 2 minor student right now. Hard to believe when I came in as just an English major, but here I am.
What is it, if you could pick one thing that has happened to you at WVU that's had the greatest impact on your life, what would it be?
Oh,
Let's start with you.
I'll go first. Okay, change of pace. Okay, so like I said, I have kind of a wide array of interests, but the one occasion that I think meshed all of these interests together splendidly was I got to go to Bahrain in 2015 with the Honors College as a representative of WVU to the Royal University for Women in Rifa. And basically, the thought process was we have a partnership with this university where WVU professors, for example, will go and start programs with them and then do checks on the programs that they already have in place to see if they are up to an international standard. So while the bigwigs are doing their business, I get to interact with these Arab girls from across the Gulf region. I met Kuwaiti girls, Saudi girls, Bahraini girls, and to connect with them, to talk about issues of womanhood, of faith, of our careers, and then, of course, to realize that girls are girls no matter where you go, and we talked about boys and secret party expeditions. And then to do more formal debate styles, we conducted Lincoln Douglas debates, where it was us, the RUW girls, and then a group from Cambridge. And we were each given topics that we were forced to argue, regardless of whether or not we necessarily believed in them. To stand in front of a full audience of Bahraini council members, Bahraini students, and to argue something I don't believe in, that the hijab and veiling is oppressive for women. It took a lot of nerve, and it was something that really helped me be able to stand in front of you guys and communicate today, because trust me, you guys are a much more understanding audience. So that week-long experience for me was a culmination of all of the values that I held before I came to the university, and then all the values that were nurtured there, and then all the values that I didn't realize were important to me until teachers or faculties or classes brought them out of me. So that would have to be the number one for me.
All right. I touched on this a little bit before about global medical brigades and going to Panama, but when people ask you, what is one of the best experiences you had in your life? I would actually say it's not one of the best experiences, it probably is the best experience I've ever had in my entire life. It was because we spent a week down in the eastern province in Panama, in the jungle, mosquitoes. I think I came out of there with almost 30, 40 mosquito bites. But that aside, you're going to indigenous villages where it looks like you're actually in the snapshot of a National Geographic magazine. The women have beads, skirts, tattoos, and another aspect that you don't see that's not as pretty out of that National Geographic magazine is that some of these people, these families haven't had medical care or health care in months. Before our WVU team got there, I think it had been 2 months since they've seen a doctor. And when we left, they told us the next time they would get another one would be 4 to 5 weeks. And I mean, we had cases down there where we knew it was too late. You couldn't save them, you couldn't save an infant. You had women that only had one tooth left, and that last tooth honestly needed to be extracted as well. And yet, the thing that shocked me the most was that these people who are living on $4 or less a day and have houses that don't even have 4 walls, they were hopeful. They were happy, they smiled, they greeted you, and they were so appreciative, and they never complained. They were enduring so much pain because we couldn't give them that much anesthesia, but never once did they cry out. And that was the most raw experience I ever had, and also I think it was the most genuine experience I ever had. When you talk to people, you look them in the eye, you can't escape and you just pull out your cell phone and look something up. And when you shook somebody's hand or you hugged them, you felt it. You felt that emotional connection with people, and that experience not only inspired me to continue and do another trip to Nicaragua, but it's also made me really, really think about my future. And based on my biography, yes, med school is my ultimate goal, and WVU is my first choice. But beyond that, I want to volunteer with Doctors Without Borders, MSF. Go into the regions that people wouldn't necessarily take as their top choice and see the level of need there, because I think that's one of the places that need is most needed. So that's probably my most impactful experience at WVU.
We don't want to say too much because we're all starting to sound like the polo student in Dr. Gee's story. So if I had to pick one experience that's been the most meaningful for me, I would say it's probably my involvement with West Virginia FoodLink. So FoodLink is a very new research organization. It's about 3 years old, studying food insecurity in West Virginia. And so for me, this is probably the most clear example of the university fulfilling its land-grant mission in the sense of serving the population of West Virginia. So I've been involved with West Virginia FoodLink for about 2.5 years now. Spent 2 summers researching in a lab, traveling throughout the state, meeting with people, everyone from people that are going into food pantries to get food for their families, to food bank directors, to people running soup kitchens in Charleston, kind of the full spectrum of the food delivery system, the charitable food donation system in the state. And for me, coming from an area where a lot of people struggled meeting just the basic daily need of having food, that's something that was very personally rewarding for me in the sense that I got to see my effort and my time having a direct impact on the people that I care about, but also seeing the university take a very active stance in promoting an organization that is having very large impacts on the discussion and the actions of creating more equitable food landscape in the state of West Virginia.
Very good. So I guess I get to ask a question that Joyce began to touch on a little bit. Joy began to touch on a little bit, and probably is on the minds of most people. So, what's next, Janelle?
Well, a good and a bad thing about having a very varied humanities background is that it can take you anywhere. So. It's a good news that I have a lot of choices, but it's bad news when people ask me this question. Probably the biggest dream of mine would be to go on to get a PhD in English literature, because college has been so formative for me in finding my path and finding my confidence that I would love to teach at the collegiate level and sort of inspire that confidence in other people. But I would also like to use what Arabic skill I have gained and then to potentially continue to learn in the hopes of becoming fluent. So I've also been considering working with the government, perhaps with the CIA or FBI as an analyst. Two very distinct paths. Potentially I could go abroad on the Fulbright. I'll be applying in the upcoming year. So the simple answer is I don't know yet. Stay tuned for further developments.
All right, well, long term is medicine, Doctors Without Borders, going to med school. Short term, though, something I didn't touch on earlier was that I do research at WVU. Started out with chicken research and studying metabolism, calcium, mainly involved me analyzing fecal matter. But that gave me a greater appreciation for research. And while it was only a semester long, I realized that, there's so much future implications in it. And that's what inspired me to volunteer in a neuroscience lab. That's how Dr. Dax knows me and called me out in one of his presentations earlier. But going off the neuroscience research, I realized that, there's so many opportunities that are open to you at WVU. And while one of them is medical school, and that's definitely my goal, that medical school it's going to be there. And one thing that may not always be there is the research opportunities, because there's so many advancements. It's always ongoing. It's exponential. So one of my professors recently approached me about this opportunity in Estonia. And there are two professors there. They're doing research, one in biochemistry, which would directly relate to my studies. But another one that I thought about branching out more would deal with cloning and something along the lines of genomics. Dr. Yuli at the University of Tartu, so who knows? Currently pursuing that, but regardless, June 1st, when the application cycle opens for medical school at WVU, stroke of midnight, my finger will be on the enter button for send. But yeah.
Very good. Dillon?
So this is a question that makes a lot of people my age very nervous, and I'm one of those people to an extent. So my long-term goal is to go to law school. I'm really interested in public interest law, but I know that I want to take a break in between the time that I graduate undergrad and go into law school. And one of the things that I'm interested in doing would be the Peace Corps. I'm really interested in traveling, spending time abroad for a significant amount of time. And in a presentation earlier, Dr. Spiro was giving his presentation on the human brain, and the question was asked, what's something that we can do that engages the whole brain and the whole mind? And traveling was one of those answers. And I love to travel, and that's something, you touched on it. Medical school, law school, it's gonna be there. They're not going anywhere in the next couple of years. But my ability to travel and my ability to kind of go whichever direction that I choose is something that I think has a limited window of opportunity. So that's a very roundabout answer to that question.
Very good. Super. Thank you, Dillon.
So we want to open this up to questions from all of you. And we have microphones floating on each side and in the back. Does anyone have any questions for the students? Kathy?
I don't have a microphone.
It's coming to you.
Thank you. Wonderful presentations from you all. My question is about finances, because some of you alluded to this in making your decisions. How big a factor is paying for college among your peers and friends? Is it something that is discussed, that you're aware of? And the level of debt that young people are facing when they leave, and the effect of being able to pursue graduate school. How big a factor do you see that today?
Basically, I do carry some. I mean, guilt is the wrong word because I earned my scholarship. But at the same time, I do feel, not, like I said, guilt's the wrong word. I don't know what it is. But I don't talk to my peers very frequently, and I feel very blessed when they talk about their struggles with finances. And I can say from personal experience, my sister went to Ohio University and got a great education, but she was in a rush to graduate because she knew the longer she stayed there, the more out-of-state tuition debt she was getting, and the sooner that she would need to work to pay off that debt. And so for me, I feel doubly blessed because now that I have free tuition, I can do things like get another minor. I can stay and I can learn to my heart's content, which I love to learn. So I think it's a huge issue for people who aren't as fortunate as we are to receive the scholarships we have, that they don't look at this opportunity as much as a blessing, as a burden, which I think is really unfortunate.
Yeah, I would like to agree with Janelle on that. Again, I don't think my family could have afforded to send me to college without the scholarship either. And I know some of my friends, everyone's tight for money, but several of my friends specifically have even participated in pharmacological research to get extra money to pay for rent, to pay for food, for gas. And it is a community. When I touched on earlier about the family aspect, I can call up any number of my friends immediately, and if I was stranded somewhere, didn't have money or whatever, they'd come over, food, pick me up, drive me to classes, and I would do the exact same thing for them. So I think again, I don't like to broadcast the fact that I do have the scholarship and the money and means. It's that sense of community at WVU that I think that if you do see somebody without as much means as you have, you never hesitate to help out, and it's reciprocated.
I would agree. I would say it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, decision in the process of deciding where you want to go to school. A college degree today is what a high school degree was 35 years ago. Like everyone needs, a college degree to stay competitive in today's world. But that's one of the exciting things I think about the university and what we're doing. Transitioning from being a regional competitor to a nationally competitive school, while providing an affordable education, which is important for people living in West Virginia like all of us, as well as attracting outside talent to the university. And it's something that I've been amazed with, that the quality of education at WVU can be offered at a very comparatively low cost to other peer institutions. But I mean, for me, it was the biggest factor in deciding where to go to school, which is what I started off with. I said it was the foundation scholarship to help make that decision, and it sounds like it's all pretty big factor for everyone.
Are there other questions? There's one here, Jessica, or Laura.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I think you three are mature, terrific, I was going to say kids.
We're still kids.
Adults.
You can call me kid. You can call me
This
kid.
was a very refreshing presentation, and I thank you. And I have a question for Joy.
Yes.
With your experience with the sheep and your research on the chicken, have you considered veterinary school?
Well, I guess I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say I didn't keep an open mind. I've kept an open mind for 4 years, so why not continue that? Are you offering?
Great.
Well, I too commend and congratulate you kids. It's a true joy to hear people like you. But my question is, what can we as a society do to share the magic that has helped you with all the rest of the kids you see on Watters World and everywhere else that don't have a clue about what's going on?
What's Watters World? Watters World is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we collectively want to know what Watters World is. I think we as a generation are maybe a little bit jaded as far as keeping up to date with a lot of globally relevant situations. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think, well, not trying to be negative, but you can kind of see it happening a little bit on campuses. On WVU's campus, it's just like a certain level of, I guess, tiredness, or I don't want to say apathy, but I guess students might feel like, there's so much responsibility, so much coming down on them that they were so worried about being serious that they forget that, you got to do the things that you enjoy, you got to do the things that have fun. There's been a big push in student government to get students more involved in student organizations, because it's the belief that that will help with retention rates. That will help if students feel like they belong in another sense that just academics, just responsibilities, and they feel like they have a human connection. And in a sense of mattering in another sphere besides just the business professional aspect, then maybe they'll devote more of it because they'll have that genuine passion, that genuine desire for something. And I think that if they have that fundamental aspect, it not only will help them connect in regards to staying in school and achieving more, contributing to society, but also, I guess in reference to your question, connecting with other peers in the global-minded aspect as well. I guess just involvement.
I would say just keep doing what you're doing. So I think part of this apathy perhaps comes from limited opportunities. But the people that I've interacted with at WVU are all incredibly motivated, and I think that's something that as people that are in a very small environment, we have the opportunity to see, 30,000 students at WVU, but it is a very small, you can't walk across campus without seeing a handful of people that you know. So I think part of it's involvement, but the work that goes into creating an environment like WVU, both in an academic sense as well as extracurricular sense, I think fosters a desire to be involved and a desire to get kind of at the root cause of what you're talking about.
I think we have time for one more question. 2 more questions? Okay.
Mine will be very quick and easy. All 3 of you are tremendously engaged, and we applaud you. Seriously, we applaud you. The bigger question is, did any of the 3 of you participate in Adventure West Virginia before you came?
Sadly, I did not.
No.
And if you did or did not, would you encourage other students, or are you even aware of it?
Oh, most definitely. I've heard nothing but amazing stories of amazing experiences, and several of my friends who are not in the band and who did Adventure West Virginia, they tell me, like, what you tell me about your friendships and your experiences and connectivity with the band is what I experienced with Adventure West Virginia. I can come onto campus and see familiar faces and already have a sense of belonging prior to coming here and not feel like, just another, I guess, number in this giant crowd of students, but as someone with a name and as someone with an identity. So definitely I would support Adventure West Virginia.
I didn't do Adventure West Virginia, but I know they do the freshman orientation, the week-long programs that you can do, and I wanted to do it. Unfortunately, I wasn't around in the summer leading up to college. But yeah, I've heard nothing but incredibly positive things about it.
I didn't do Adventure, but I know that the Honors College is actually working to retool orientation week. If you would like to talk about that, Ken, you know more than I do.
Sure. So new student orientation this year, we're going to have some honor-specific days, and we will have some honor-specific trips for honor students and Adventure, because we believe strongly, like they've talked about how that binds those students together, gives them that sense of place, sense of belonging, and ties them to our campus and sets them up for a strong success. So yeah, we want to do that. Yeah.
And one more.
Just to echo everyone else's comments, congratulations, and you really do the university proud. But This is specifically for Joy because she's in the marching band, which we're all so proud of. What's it like to come onto the field before a big game and, with the fans going crazy?
I think it's the best non-drug related rush you can have in your entire life. I mean, that was a joke. They say that you never forget your first run on and your last run on. So there's a tradition in the band that no matter what, because the band is so huge that you have to rotate out spaces. Not everyone gets to march every show, unfortunately. But they always make sure that seniors and freshmen always do the first run on and always do the last run on, because they also say that, okay, when you run onto the field, don't get distracted. Please remember to bring your horn up and step off. Otherwise you're gonna But to run out of the tunnel where you're kind of in darkness and you just hear every band member just cheering, yelling, and doing our little songs and ditties, and to suddenly just come out of the tunnel and just be enveloped in sunlight, and then just 60,000 fans screaming around you. You do get lost in that sensation a little bit, but then at the same time, you're reminded that your WVU family isn't just 350 band members. It's these 60,000 fans and the rest of the state of West Virginia. And so when you play, you play your heart out. And I don't think the last time I played with the band, that was probably one of the most exhilarating and also most bittersweet moments I've ever had in my entire life. Because you're trying to play your heart out, and at the same time you're trying to remember that, this is not the end of an era, not the end of an experience, but this is just a continuation of so many more possibilities in life. And definitely love the band. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.